Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final part of today's WFR live TV broadcast of the 2025 RMC Golden Trophy from Karting Genk in Belgium, the home of champions. You are looking at the dummy grid for the second and final junior Rotax heat of the day. 3 heat races, including this one, remain before we get into the main events. There is a look at your pole sitter, Lars Lambers. And Lars, just looking at the results from earlier, Lars won that race from Rayan Gandor, Luca Holmes Balak, Mahus Masinas, Eric Brandsborg, Lika van Bokel, Marcel Popperkool, and Lionel Munguia. Looking down the order, there were a number of retirements and exclusion for Emia Siadowska. Penalties for Kai Clark, Lucas Frieden, Kimmy May, Lomond Wilcox, AJ Begraaf, amongst others. This will be a 7-minute plus 1 lap heat race. There is a look at Kai Clark, just checking his gloves over. The 2-3-4 kart of Marcel Popperkool is next up. The engines are fired. As 35 drivers wait to be given the command to go out onto the circuit. There's the number 233, Boris Verhagen. Retirement from race 1 for Boris. The green flag waves, and out we go on to the circuit, which is now, for the first time all week, bathed in beautiful autumnal sunshine. There is Daniel Hakkinen going out towards the back of the field. Bob Hakkinen to his friends, and Bob in just his 3rd junior race. So he is learning full-sized karts for the first time. Here's your full starting lineup, however. Lars Lambers and Kai Clark go from row number 1. Jensen Chalk and Marcel Popperkool. There's Marcel. He goes from row number 2. Rayan Gandor and Patrikas Josius go from row number 3. Cody Lepatruel and Emia Siadowska from row number 4. Luca Holmes Balak and Nathan Lequiro on row number 5. Row 6, Boris Verhagen and Finley Smith. Row 7, Maj Tusek and Ralph Hugo Niemanen. Eric Brandsborg, Lomond Wilcox. Row number 8, Rares Pascu, Majos Masinas. Row 9, Louis Ratcliffe, Lika van Bokel. Row 10, Loris Musai and Philippe Hansler. Row 11, Kern Willems, AJ Begraaf. Row 12, Anton Hauschild Christensen, Devrim Yeta on row 13. Justin Fonk and Priam Leung go from row number 14. Kimmy May, Lionel Munguia, Matas Balkus, Mika Gentner, Lucas Frieden, Luan Seidel, and Daniel Hakkinen. That is your full starting lineup. Can Lars Lambers make it 2 out of 2? And this is personally my first trip to Belgium since Thibaut Remakers became Belgium's newest world karting champion. So congratulations to Thibaut. and the rest of the Belgian karting fraternity, who I'm sure were up in raptures of his success. So we come into the tram lines. Lights go out. We are off and racing down towards turn number 1. And through turn 1 we go. Lambers has the advantage. Over the curb goes Kai Clark to maintain second position. 2 MLC Motorsport karts, wheel to wheel. Cody Lepatruel in one of them, and the other being Jensen Chalk. Looking down the midfield, there's a bit of a gap there developing behind the top 10 as drivers climb over the top of one another. Oh, and there's 2 drivers climbing over the top of each other going into the button S's. Trying to see who those 2 were, as one of them might have been Cody Lepatruel, who has lost a few positions. The top 6 are clear. Oh, there is the number 222 kart making a strong, aggressive move to the inside down at Grandstand Bend. Luca Holmes-Ballock picking up a place, but at the end of lap number 1, Lambers under pressure. Kai Clark makes the move into the lead, and second, Rayan Gandor, his KR Sport teammate, now into P2. Poppercool runs 4th. And behind Poppercool is Jensen Chalk. Those 5 have a huge lead over Patrikas Josius, who is now in 6th position. Verhagen is 7th. Brandenburg 8th, Holmes-Ballock 9th, and Cody Lepatruel 10th. Oh, one Craft Motorsport kart heading into the pits. That is Mash Tusek out of the rake. Anton Christensen has also not come round. Mika Gentner also in difficulties towards the back of the field. The top 5 miles clear of the rest as we head into turn number 1 on lap number 3. Marcel Poppercool, that red and white Kato Motorsport race suit, has a very good position there in 4th place. And there's a move from Lambers at turn number 6 on Gandor, but Gandor does the crossover, gets him on the exit. Poppercool signalling, saying, come on, don't defend, let's go. The leaders are getting away. Well, leader, because this is the battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. And they've got a huge advantage over everybody else. I'm just having a little look back at the gaps. So behind the top 5, there is a 3-second gap to 6th and 7th, and then another huge gap back to 8th and 9th, Finley Smith and Cody Lepatruel. Then 10th place on back is one big scrum. Lambers snaking into braking turn number 1. Under pressure from Chalk. Poppercool slots back into 5th position after briefly running 3rd as Chalk moves up. This is Jensen's best junior performance so far. His first year as a junior driver for Jensen. Kai Clark, meanwhile, 1.3 seconds up the road and still pulling clear. There's Chalk to the inside of Lars Lambers for 3rd position in the MLC Motorsport number 264. Now Chalk defends. Poppercool's going to try and go round the outside. First Slim Shady of the day, round the outside for Poppercool. Oh, and then he blots his copybook by scuttling into the back of Jensen Chalk, going through turn 14. Luckily, Chalk emerges unscathed, and Poppercool manages to recover into 5th position, closing in on all of them. Eric Brandsborg in 6th position. So this battling has allowed Kai Clark and Rayan Gandor to pull clear. Now we've got 3rd, 4th, 5th, and closing in on them in 6th position, Eric Brandsborg. Oh, there is a cart parked in the barriers. 2 carts parked in the barriers at the entrance to the Button Complex. One of them is Lionel Munguia. The other one is Priam Leung. Also going out of the race, Lika van Bokel for SP Motorsports. So let's make that 5 retirements now. 2 minutes to go. Chalk running third, trying to chase down Gandor in second. Lambers is next. Popacool follows. Mahos Masinas sets a new fastest lap of the race. And there's got to be careful of those carts on the outside of turn number 7, the entrance to the Button Complex. Although the marshals here at Karting Genk have moved them to a relatively safe position. Kai Clark continues to lead. Of course, Kai did not finish heat number 1, so he needs this to be a good result. He's going to be looking at starting mid-grid for the final anyway, so he just wants to minimise the damage, so to speak. Gandor, who would finish ahead of Lambers if things run as they are. That could be, Lambers would be tied with Gandor for points, but he would take pole position for the final as things stand. Luca Holmes-Ballack would start the final third from Brandsborg, Popacool, Masinas, Chalk. Kai Clark, with this win, would go from about 25th on the grid up to 8th. So this would be a big move for Kai Clark. 20 seconds to go. Next time around, as Kai Clark starts another lap, next time by, he would get the last lap board into turn number 1. Jensen Chalk has caught Rayan Gandor. Does Jensen go for a move, or does he sit in third place? He's just set the fastest lap of the race, 56.539 seconds. I've got to say, I like Marcel Popacool's crash helmet design. It's got a bit of pop art on it, which is excellent wordplay. Now, Marcel's got to try and make something happen. He has already tried one audacious move at this corner. It worked for him, and then it went wrong in the next corner. Meanwhile, as they come into turn number 14, second, third, fourth, and fifth, race leader Kai Clark looks over his shoulder, sees he's got a huge advantage. Here comes Jensen Chalk to the inside. Although that's mainly defending from Lambers, that's going to give Rayan Gandor a bit of a gap to maybe consolidate second position here on the final lap. Popacool still putting Lambers under pressure, and Lambers is sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place. If he attacks Jensen Chalk, he could lose a position to Marcel Popacool. Jensen is just thinking defend, defend, defend. Although he's caught back up to Rayan Gandor, I'm not sure if Jensen's going to make a move. I think he wants to consolidate third place. Looks over his shoulder, sees that Lambers is defending into turn 12. Popacool's going to have a little nibble, I think, into the last corner, is he? No, Lambers defends. On the run to the flag, Kai Clark takes the win. Second for Gandor. Third for Jensen Chalk. Lars Lambers finishes in fourth place and does enough to hold on to pole position for the final. Gandor will start alongside him. Eric Brandsborg finishes 6th, Luca Holmes-Ballack 7th, Mahos Masinas is 8th, Finley Smith and Cody Lepatruel round out your top 10. And a Lomond Wilcox, good drive for Lomond. Luan Seidel up 22 places to 12th from 34th on the grid. Louis Radcliffe, Boris Verhagen, Kern Willems, Loris Moise, Devrim Yita, good finish for Devrim, as well as Emir Siadowska, Philip Hansler, Lucas Frieden, Raras Pascu, Kimi May, Daniel Hakkinen, AJ Bagraf, Patrikas Josius, Justin Fonk, Matas Balkius, Ralph Niemanen, Nathan Lequiro, Mika Gentner, the last driver home in 30th position provisionally. Lars Lambers and Rayan Gander will start the final from row 1. Luca Holmes-Balak and Eric Brandsborg from row 2. Marcel Poppacool and Mahos Masinas from row 3. Jensen Chalk and Kai Clark from row number 4. Here's a look back at the start. Now, Lars Lambers had the lead initially, but you don't quite see it at the start there. There was no real accident, but a lot of drivers tripping over each other and slowing each other down allowed the top 5 to get a huge lead at the end of lap number 1. There they go. That's the end of lap number 1, and they're already 2 seconds at the road. That was Kai Clark just easing Lars Lambers out of the way. Lambers went back in on Rayan Gandor. Gandor does the crossover. This is a great viewpoint from our WFR live TV camera position up there as Gandor, Lambers, Jensen Chalk to the inside. Good, clean move from Jensen Chalk. And Kai Clark, though, was able to disappear and comfortably control the pace at the front for the win. Two heat races to go then, ladies and gentlemen. You are looking at the DD2 and DD2 Masters field. There in the foreground, Nicholas Clay, winner of the opening DD2 Masters race. A quick glance at the results from that first race this morning. Well, Edgars Vilkans got a penalty, did Nicholas Clay, but that still meant that he was the winner in the Masters division. Jakob Patel, Leonardo Baccaglini, Lawrence Herberts, the top 3, with Vilkans 4th, Jordi Cleribo was 5th, then William Germer Kirstens, Nicholas Clay, Vigor Jovard, Luis Terotan, Jeremy Brasler, Hannes Morin, Alex Fielenbach, your top 12. Jakob Bazel, there you can see just going through a little pre-race ritual. He'll start this from pole position again. A lot of drivers using the Birrell ART chassis in this event because that is the kart they will use at the grand finals. There is Jakob, who's looking a little bit on the cold side, but because it is rather cold here. There he goes. He's got the casino style crash helmet on. Well, you've got to roll the dice and try and get lucky sometimes in karting. It's better to be lucky and good. Jakob is definitely good. Will his luck continue? On the outside of row number 1, Rasmus Janssen. Rasmus, who started so strongly in the first heat, then fell away quite badly. We'll see what happens to him and have a little look down. There's the number 414, the Synergy kart of Vigor Jovard. Leonardo Baccaglini sits just on the outside of his number 401 Sheepers Racing Services kart before he decides to get in. The two teammates, the Jesper Sjoberg Racing Team. Sitting and waiting. 20 drivers in total. Although I can only see 19 karts on our screens. That means that somebody has either missed the grid gate or has, for whatever reason, elected not to go out in this race. We will have to wait and see who is missing. We'll find out very shortly. There with the it's not black and white, it's almost a charcoal grey and white Team Latvia race suit. You can see the head of the Latvian Griffin just on the top of Edgars Vilkan's race suit, as our pit lane cameraman Sergio tries to get as low as possible to have a glance at the driver's eyes. There they are. Some of those eyes just covered by the iridium visors that the drivers use when it's sunny, and there is a bit of sunshine around. Not a massive amount. There are still some pretty threatening clouds rolling through. Hopefully we don't get a sprinkle, although you can see it's very windy here today as well, so the clouds are moving quickly. If any rain does get deposited on the circuit, it would, you know, be a brief shower, I am sure. But it's dry at the moment. Here we go. Bacaglini a little bit slow away. 10 minutes plus 1 lap. Now we'll find out who is missing, who has not gone out. It's Patrick Donica, who we saw crash out of the first race. He has not gone out for this one, so I fear that the pole has terminally damaged something on that go-kart. That means the wagon, the only place the wagon is going to roll for the rest of the day is into the back of the van and go home. Well, it means we've got 19 runners left out of turn number 11 down towards the grandstand. On to their second rolling lap. Once again, the drivers in the main DD2 class, they are the drivers whose karts are numbered in the 400s. The Masters drivers, those aged 31 and over, they are the karts whose numbers are in the 500s. It is Batzel and Janssen row 1. Vilkans and Jovard, row 2. Morin, Bacaglini, row 3. Fielenbach and Clay, row 4. Usakovs and Sagadi, row 5. Herberts and Germa Christens, row 6. Not Van der Pavert on his own on row 7. Terotan, Cleribo, row 8. Brasler, Guillaume, row 9. Norbach and Morin, row 10. Into turn number 14. There is the Hunter Motorsport number 489 kart of Gustav Usakov's. He needs a good performance. His first race did not go to plan this morning. They're in the tram lines. Lights are out. We are off and racing. Down towards turn number 1 we go. It's a good clean start from Batzel. Janssen gets squeezed a little bit. He has to understeer over the curb. Goes Janssen and he loses 3, possibly 4 positions. As the field now straighten themselves out. Alex Fielenbach has made a good start. He's now running just behind Janssens. As there is Devin Sagardi, the Estonian driver of AGS Racing. Into the button S's we go. Everybody through cleanly. So, up to P2, the 402 car. Edgars Vilkans, his teammate, Leonardo Baccaglini right behind him. They have to now set off after race leader, runaway race leader Jakob Batzel. Behind them, and there's a lot of chopping and changing going on. There is Fielenbach losing out to Gustav Usakovs. Oh, and over the curb at the wrong angle goes Edgars Vilkans. You saw the kart just jump up in the air. He locks the front brakes, understeers wide, and allows Baccaglini and the fast starting Hannes Morin. Hannes Morin up into P3 now in kart 415. The Schoberg Racing Team driver on that Birol ART kart through turn number 11. Louis Terotan gets a warning flag. All 19 karts safely through at the end of lap number 1. We're coming towards the end of lap number 2 now. There is Nicholas Clay in the number 548 kart, still leading the Masters division comfortably. Looking back, the next Masters kart is in 12th place, Alex Fielenbach. But already Jakob Batzel opens up an 0.8 of a second advantage over Leonardo Baccaglini. Baccaglini still with his hands full of Hannes Morin. Edgars Vilkans recovering from that lockup into turn number 1 is 4th. 5th for the leading Masters driver, Nicholas Clay. Then it's Herberts up to 6th. Janssen down to 7. Usakov's up to 8th. Jovard is 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Willem Germer Christens. Well, this lap, Baccaglini and Morin are quicker than your race leader. The gap is coming down. It was 0.8 of a second. Then it was 0.6. Now it is just a fraction over 0.5 of a second. And Hannes Morin looking like he is just happy to sit behind and work with Baccaglini. He can see that Baccaglini's closing in, so he thinks, why do I want to slow Leonardo down? I want to follow Baccaglini and make it a 3-kart battle for the race lead. Into turn number 11. Now down the straight towards the grandstand. In front of the spectators, we've got a 4-kart train for top spot. The 2 red and white Birol ART karts, they are not teammates. The two karts in 2nd and 4th for Sheepers Racing Service obviously are teammates. And so Batzel now has to just try and utilise the fact that he has got the advantage of track position to keep the past karts at bay. He can't. Baccaglini lunges to the inside at turn 6. Makes the move. Oh, Batzel and Morin now wheel to wheel. And Batzel's forced back to 4th position. Through comes Edgars Vilkans. Batzel back at Morin. Here comes Nicholas Clay. Suddenly there are 6 karts in the battle for the lead. Batzel having to get his elbows out there. You can see the tyre scuff marks on the side pods of Hannes Morin's kart. Lawrence Herbots is also in this scrap. So is Gustav Usakovs. Now, Ralph van der Pavert and William Norbeck have retired with mechanical issues. Ralph van der Pavert coming into the pit lane in the SP Motorsport number, just checking, the number 468 SP Motorsport kart. Norbeck retiring the number 428 RS competition kart out on circuit coming out of turn number 2. Now Bazell has to fight his way back. Oh, there is Devin Sagardi in the number 444 Lando Norris kart, the Estonian for AGS Racing. Had a poor first race, didn't finish. Nicholas Guillaume in the surviving SP Motorsport kart, also moving up the order. There is a look back at the tail end of the field, the 453 kart of Louis Tirotin, running at the back of the field in what is 17th position. But here is your leader, Leonardo Baccaglini. 7/10 in front of his teammate, Edgars Vilkans. It's Italy leading Latvia, leading the Czech Republic, Jakub Batzel. We start another lap, 3.5 minutes to go. Batzel back into his rhythm. Nicholas Clay, so impressive in that Masters kart number 548, running 4th overall. His nearest Masters rival is Alex Fielenbach, running 13th overall. There is the number 469 of Lawrence Herberts in 5th position. Usakovs has now emerged in 6th position ahead of Hannes Morin, who slips back to 7th. Now, how impatient is Lawrence Herberts going to be? Because he does need to get that 548 kart out of the way. He's competing against him, obviously, but it's a separate race, it's a separate podium for Masters than it is the main class. And there is the lunge into turn number 1. Herberts just sees the door open, dives to the inside, makes the move, loses minimal time to the next kart he's got to try and catch, and that is Jakub Batzel in 3rd place. Meanwhile, Leonardo Baccaglini is pulling away, only by a 10th here and a 10th there over his teammate Edgars Vilkans, but a 10th here and a 10th there could, at the end of this lap, equate to 1 full second. We'll have to wait and see. They cross the line, and it is, 0.99 of a second, so yeah, effectively a full second. Batzel, just 2/10 behind Vilkans, with Herberts half a second back, bringing Claes with him. Usakovs on the move as well for Hunter Motorsport. Down the back straight, into the Button complex we go. Leaves fluttering around the circuit that have been blown off the trees that surround this facility on 2 sides. Well, 3 sides really. You've got the motocross track behind us. There is Bazell back to the inside of Vilkans for 2nd place. Will Vilkans try to retake the position into turn number 1? No, he can't, because Batzel defends over the curb on the exit of turn 1 for Jakub Batzel. Doesn't unsettle the kart too much. Doesn't give Edgars Vilkans a chance to lunge to the inside. Out of turn number 6 onto the Europa Plan straight. Lawrence Herbert's in the number 469 cart. That is the Bouvan Power entered Birrell ART. Looking strong, but unable to break down the defences of Edgars Vilkans as we begin the final lap. Betzel would still have pole position. There goes Herberts though to the inside. Vilkans left the door open and Herberts made the move. Now will we see Vilkans come back at him? Not into turn number 6, we don't. Betzel would still have pole position for the final with Bacaglini alongside him. Vilkans and Herberts would be sharing the second row. Claes and Germa Christens would be on row 3. Claribo and Hannes Morin on row 4. If things stay as they are, into turn 11 for the last time, around turn 12. Bacaglini has now one corner to go. Oh, John Nicholas Clay had a lunge at Edgars Vilkans then. He didn't quite pull it off. Checkered flag comes out. And Leonardo Bacaglini takes the victory. And that is good enough for the outside of the front row of the grid for the final, alongside Jakob Betzel, who needed to make that pass on Vilkans to get back into second place to secure pole position. He does that. Herberts and Vilkans will line up on row number 2. They finished 3rd and 4th in that race as well. Nicholas Clay, another fantastic drive to 5th position. Usakovs takes 6th. 7th for Hannes Morin. William Germa Christens is 8th. Nicholas Guillaume 9th. Devon Sagardi rounds out your top 10 ahead of Viggo Jovard, Rasmus Janssen, Jordi Claribo. And second in the Masters division, 14th overall, Alex Fielenbach, ahead of Jeremy Brasler, Louis Terotan and Jonathan Morin. Which means we have one heat race to go. Let's have a look back at the highlights. A good start from Betzel, was again able to get over to the Optimum Racing line. However, look at Bacaglini. At the moment, you can't really see Bacaglini. There he is. He gets to the inside. A little bit of hip and shuffle, but then in front of him, everyone runs a bit wide. And that gives him second position. There's the move for the race lead. Bacaglini. And now Betzel finds himself in a bit of trouble because not only did Vilkans force his way through, Morin also tried to get through. That dropped Betzel back to 3rd under pressure. There's Hannes Morin losing a little bit of ground to Lawrence Herberts. That is Herberts picking off Nicholas Clay. But it was Bacaglini that took the victory. One race to go. Coming right up will be the Senior Rotax Group A versus Group B heat race to decide the final 36 drivers who will make their way out for the main event later on. You look at Austin Lee chatting to his mechanic, Tom Stackhouse. There, Lee, who won the opener, starts second in this one alongside Lloyd Hare. Lloyd Hare. There is Lloyd. You know, solid in heat number 1, have to be said. Which was in his first heat, rather. And of course, that race was won by Jack West, who starts once again from the 3rd row of the grid. There, the drivers give their final fist pumps, thumbs up to one another. That's interesting. So, Austin Lee is the only non-Dan Holland racing kart And the first three, and the first top 5 on the grid. The Strawberry Racing driver will have to make himself a bit of a nuisance. Here, your Tish van Wyk behind him, and then Jack West just hopping into his number 392 car. Now, drivers at the other end of the scale who are worried about not making it into the final. Well, Mitch Haynett retired from his opening race. Naman Kukrasia also was down in 24th position. Filip Wisniewski finished 23rd, but did Wisniewski do okay? He had a 15th, so he'll be all right. Felipe Falk, another driver. So the 2 TB kart drivers, Haynett and Falk, they both need trouble-free, fast runs in this race. Elijah Alexandra Bach, Max Bostrom, Naman Kukrasia, they are the drivers that are nervous. Marco Aries, also 22nd in his first race, will be nervous as well. I won't know. I can only see the top 8 drivers in the intermediate classification on the live grid, so I won't be able to tell you with any degree of certainty who is going to be the one driver to miss out.
Seconds, Sergio.
"25 drivers. Here we go for the final heat race in the 2025 RMC Golden Trophy. Oh dear, one driver not getting started at all. Who is that? Is that Matthias Kjellerup? It is Matthias Kjellerup in the number 353 for KR Sport, not going anywhere. Frantically looking around, try and coax some life into that kart. Now, is mechanic not allowed to touch the kart? He's going to try and bounce it into life. Kjellerup, where did he finish in his first race? The answer is 7th. So he's in no danger of not making the final. Oh, and that is just so frustrating. The mechanic not allowed on the grid to help. Or is he allowed now? We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, here is your full starting lineup. Lloyd Hare and Austin Lee, row number 1. Tish van Wyk and Tino Sidler, row 2. Row 3, Jack West and Ollie Wise. Row 4, Ruben Verheyen and Sver Uben. Row 6, Mitch Haynett, and on his senior debut. This is Will Archer's very first race out of juniors. And he starts 10th. After finishing 11th in his earlier heat. So a very good start to his senior career for Will Archer. Matthias Kjellerup may or may not start alongside Felipe Falk on row 6. Then it'll be Miles Roby, Ludwig Gustafsson, Knud Nielsen, Max Taylor, Gabriel Svitala, Rafael Moreau, Marco Aries, Charlie Valliskog, Eddie Nilsson, Anya Levar, Enzo Zani, Thor Franson and Naman Kukrasia. Looking down, I think they have got Kjellerup's kart started, and he will start at the back of the field. There he is with his mechanic now just making sure the kart remains fired. The rest of the field come around turn number 14. Into the tram lines. Lights are out. We are off and racing down towards turn number 1. It's a good start from Lloyd here. Austin Lee tries to get to the inside, but he is forced wide by a trio of Dan Holland racing karts. Although Lee fights back, passes Jack West for third position. Following him through is Ruben Verheyen in the number 308 kart. So a good start for Verheyen in the RS competition machine. Down the back straight, change of lead as Lloyd Hare gets freight trained on the outside line. It's Tish van Wyk who has the advantage now. Austin Lee up into second. And Austin Lee forcing Tish van Wyk to defend into Grandstand Bend, out of turn 13. Van Wyk continues to stand on the inside line. Lee has to try and do something. Nope, sits and waits with Verheyen. And now Jack West in fourth position. Nielsen down to fifth. Everybody, Max Taylor has not come round on the opening lap, so Max Taylor out of the race. And Tish van Wyk is defending strongly in the early stages, and Austin Lee is doing everything he can to stop running over him. It's a bit tricky. Van Wyk on the inside line. Who's this trying? That's Lloyd Hare trying to go around the outside line. And up over the back of Lloyd Hare. There's three of them off. Jack West is one of them. And that was simply a cause because Tish van Wyk is just being so defensive over the front. Jack West returns. Austin Lee is still second. Third is the 308 of Verheyen. I think Lloyd Hare somehow managed to scramble back on in fourth position. There goes Austin Lee, finally making the move, passing Tish van Wyk, and Verheyen goes through. So I would not be surprised now if Austin Lee just clears off at the front of the field. Max Taylor gets... It was a mechanical flag for Max Taylor that signals the end of his second race. Jack West, Knud Nielsen are down in 23rd, 24th place. Now, of the drivers that needed a good result, let's say so far, Naman Kukreja is only 22nd. He needs to pick up some positions. Looking further up, Felipe Falk is 10th, Mitch Haynett is 6th. So both TB karts, they're doing well at the moment. They're doing what they need to do. There's 3, 6, 7, 9 kart. Gabriel Svitala is next in line and doing a good job. Max Taylor out of the race. Meanwhile, back on track. Lee, his advantage is a quarter of a second over Verheyen. Over Tish van Wyk. So Van Wyk, after defending in the early laps, his kart now handling better, coping with the conditions better. He's moving forward again. Ollie Wise has made the move with the fourth position with Svitala down to fifth. Lloyd Hare after his excursion in 6th position. Haynett, Falk, Moreau and Miles Roby, the rest of the top 10. Jack West setting the fastest lap of the race, but in 24th position. And at the moment, the race 1 winner would not be starting in the top 8 for the final. Austin Lee would have pole position for the final. From Tish van Wyk, Ruben Verheyen will start 3rd. Macaulay Bishop would start 4th. Then Tino Sidler, Ollie Wise, Jort van Wyk and Lloyd Hare 8th. Long way to go, however. And Naman Kukrasia drops to 22nd place. I think the Indian driver is running the risk of being the odd man out at the end of this one. Needs to gain a few positions. He's got a 22nd and a 24th place to his name. Looking to see Elijah Alexander Bach has got a 23rd and a 21st place to his name. So those are the two people fighting against elimination. Kukrasia can actually do something about his position. Elijah Bach has done his 2 races. Kukrasia 23rd. I don't think a 24th and a 23rd is going to be good enough for Naman Kukrasia. He needs to gain some more positions to knock, I think, Elijah Bach out of the final. Once again, Elijah Bach 21st and 23rd. Kukrasia has a 24th and currently runs 24th again. Well, 3 minutes to go. You never know what might happen. There is Ruben Verheyen, who is now ahead of Tish van Wyk. Ollie Wise doing a superb job in 4th place. Mitch Haynett 5th. Gabriel Svitala 6th. Sver Uben is 7th. Miles Roby 8th. Raphael Moreau and Tino Sidler are next. Lloyd Hare has dropped to 11th. Felipe Falk has dropped to 15th. Felipe Falk, he had a 24th place finish in his first race. He has to be running at the end. He has to keep running. Does Felipe Falk? A second DNF would mean that Falk is the driver to miss out. He's doing enough as things stand. So keeping one eye at the front of the field. Here's the battle now for 3rd place. Sorry, for 2nd place. There's the battle for 4th place. Mitch Haynett has caught this group in a hurry. And Ruben Verheyen letting Ollie Wise go. I think he's saying, okay, well, you're quicker than me. I don't want to get involved in a scrap. I want to just carry on. Now I'm noticing, oh dear, Felipe Falk fans, hold your breath, because Felipe's had an off and is now down at the back of the field. He's in 24th place. Naman Kukrasia up to 22nd. So Felipe Falk has a 24th place and is currently running 24th. Naman Kukrasia has a 24th place and is currently running 22nd. This could be critical for Naman Kukrasia. We're not seeing him because he's the back of the field, but I'm looking at my window and they are neck and neck for what I think is the 36th and final place in the final. Here are your leaders coming across the line. But in terms of who makes the final, who is the one driver to miss out, Felipe Falk has just repassed Naman Kukrasia. They're going into turn number 1 and they're battling over 22nd place. Whoever finishes in front of Falk and Kukrasia, they're both, I've got one 24th place finish. Whoever finishes first between those two, I believe, makes the final. Whoever finishes second out of those two goes home early. And if you're Naman Kukrasia, home is in India. If you're Felipe Falk, home is in the Netherlands, but it was in Brazil, so it's a long journey for either one. Meanwhile, as we start the final lap on your screens, Mitch Haynett in the other mean green TB kart machine has a look to the inside of Ollie Wise. Not quite. We stick in there. No, he's falls back into line. Out of turn number 6. Down the Europa Plan straight. This is second, third and fourth. Austin Lee is going to win this heat race and put it on pole position for the final. Tish van Wyk will probably start second. Who will finish second? Ollie Wise has it at the moment. Mitch Haynett, a great drive for Mitch in the TB kart to run third. Then it's Van Wyk and Verheyen round the final corner. There is Austin Lee. Wise second, Haynett third. Now let's see. We're looking for the other bright green TB kart machine and then the MLC Motorsport entry. There's Felipe Falk crossing the line, and there, 2 places behind him, is Naman Kukrasia. Falk takes second, takes 21st. Kukrasia takes 23rd. I think unofficially that means that Naman Kukrasia might be the driver. Of course, there could be exclusions, you never know. But if things stay as they are, Falk, I believe, has just squeezed in ahead of Kukrasia as the 36th and final qualifier for the main event. There is Naman Kukrasia coming into the pits. He finishes 23rd. Falk finishes 21st. Well, we will wait and see. That, ladies and gentlemen, concludes the heats for today. The finals begin at 2:30 p.m. local time. So we have got 20 minutes. Here's the highlights. Lloyd Hare leading. Now, Tish van Wyk at the start of this race was incredibly defensive. Now, I don't know if that was just waiting for his tyres to come on or whether the kart didn't feel very good. Lloyd Hare trying to go round the outside of his teammate who gives him room. Austin Lee was able to squeeze into second place. Now, this is where it all started going a bit wrong. You can see Van Wyk, hugging the inside line. Look at Hare on the outside. Austin Lee getting shoved sideways. Verheyen into Jack West. Well, Knud Nielsen. There's the 367 of Tino Sidler going off. Jack West would eventually... where would Jack West finish? He would finish 18th. But then Van Wyk, after letting Lee go, was able to pick up the pace a little bit. Verheyen goes through to second. And Austin Lee, well, he just went, thank you very much, goodbye. But yeah, Van Wyk's kart did get better towards the end of the race. He slides up the inside of the 308. Ruben Verheyen for P2. And there is your Oh dear, that's not very nice at the end of the day. That was a defensive move and a half from Ruben Verheyen, which may or may not endear him to the race officials. And I'm wondering if later on, is that why we saw Verheyen, Mitch Haynett getting stuck in as well. I'm wondering if that's why we saw Ruben Verheyen let Tish van Wyk go afterwards. Maybe he thought, I might just let him pass me, see what happens. Because he did, at the end of the race, let Tish van Wyk pass him for what was eventually 4th place at the end of it. So we are going to take a short break here at the circuit. Join us once again in about 10 minutes for the main events here in Genk. It's the 2025 RMC Golden Trophy. See you in a minute.